Alright guys, you know who it is. It's your boy Zeus coming in with another guide. Another one. But this time it's for Alki because I got a few requests to review over Alki and like kind of give my opinion on it and try to give a good build for Alki. And I'm just gonna apologize ahead of time for my voice. I am a little bit sick, but let's try to get into it. Oh, before I get into it, actually, a few things I want to say. I don't play Alki a lot, but I know what I'm doing with her because it's just like you gotta learn your classes. You gotta learn all the classes in the game to be relevant nowadays. But let's get into it. Alright, so for my Alki, I run hand cannon. Hand cannon is probably the best one that you can use. Like there is no other cannon that you should probably be using. If you want to be relevant in a team fight or relevant for your teammates, hand cannon is probably the only one you should be using. And let me show you why, actually. Let me show you why. So that no one can complain or feel like they're being misled or anything like that. So, hand cannon does 210 damage, right? Has a good fire rate, good clip, ammo, and the reload time. That's the trick right there. Reload time is pretty fast, huh? And that's like the most important thing for Alki is reload time or the reload speed. If you look over here at like full bore does 30 more damage than hand cannon does, but it has one less shot and the reload time is a lot longer. So within the reload time that it takes for the full bore to reload and like start shooting more shots, the hand cannon could already be loaded and shooting more shots more consistently. And if you do manage to get reload speed enchantments on a full bore and you use the quick hand talent, then you're basically just using a hand cannon without the reload speed and the talent. So it's kind of just like what what is worth it to you? Is losing one shot extra and having a longer reload time and having to do like all these extra shits just to get the extra damage, is that really worth it to you? Like, I mean, if you would like to use full bore, I'm not saying it's a bad weapon. All I'm saying is it's not practical in a way because you have to have a dedicated build for certain type of weapons in this game. Otherwise, it'll be nearly impossible to really get off with anything. But the 30 extra damage is nice. It shouldn't be a game changer when it comes to like comparing the full bore to the hand cannon. It's good for quick bursts if you can land your shots. You only have 5 shots this time, and you have to have a reload enchant. And 9 times out of 10, you want a health enchant. So there, like ammo is completely out the window for the full bore because you need the reload and you need the health. And with full bore, you can't get away with that. And then it limits you. It limits you a lot. But we'll get more into that later on when we get down to the talents. Multi-cannon. Multi-cannon should probably never be used. To be honest, it should probably never be used. The reload speed of multi-cannon seems like it's 10 times longer than what the full bore is. Like the full bore is slow, but the feel of the multi-cannon is extremely slow. Like it surpasses like any slowness in the fucking game. Just the animation of it just so fucked up. It does 75 on 3 shots. So you shoot 3 shots out and each shot does 75. I'm not gonna do the math for you, cause I mean, come on now, do the math yourself. Pause the video, look at it, fucking add it up real quick, whatever. But why would you want this when you could have this, or you could have this? It has 5 shots, right? So 5 shots to shoot out 3 shots of 75 damage per, and that's only 75 damage if you hit them with it. And that's not the damage if they're far away, because if you didn't know, the farther away a target is, the less damage you'll do to them. That's not that damage. Like 75 damage is not going to be 75 from a long distance. It's gonna go lower and lower, and then eventually you might get to 12. You'll be at 12 damage if you're lucky, or some shit. But it has 5 shots, 5 shots and 30 clip, or 30 extra ammo past the 5 shots. So in total 35 shots. And look at the comparison. Full bore, or not full bore, but hand cannon has 36 shots after the first 6 shots. So that's already more ammo than the multi-cannon. And a lot of times the problem I have when I play Alki is the ammo. That's a lot of my problem comes from, like, lack of ammo. I always seem to lose ammo. I mean, I can hit my shots all day, but eventually I'll run out of ammo. And that's making me use health stations and shit like that more often. You know, just it's making it a lot more harder for me, and it's making me have to rotate a lot more than what I would actually feel comfortable with. So just keep in mind that the multi-cannon shouldn't be something that you want to use if you're trying to be competitive, I guess. It's good for certain situations and it's nice, like deceiver stacks and shit like that. This would probably be good because it hit multiple targets, and you know, it's easy to hit multiple targets basically. But the good thing about multi-cannon that's different from all the other cannons is that it has a lot of stopping power. It has the most stopping power in the game. So keep in mind when you shoot something, they're most likely gonna stop in the tracks, and it's gonna slow like their melees down. If you shoot somebody that's charging at you with a charge attack, right? Like let's say they fully charge the charge attack. If they're getting shot with multi-cannon, their charge attack is not gonna go as far as like what they think it's gonna do. Most people already have in their mind where it's gonna go and shit like that. But when you hit them with the multi-cannon, they won't go as far, depending on how many shots you hit on them. It has the highest stopping power in the game, so it slows people from like deceiver embeds to charge attacks and reaver kicks and shit like that. It kind of slows them down in mid motion. So instead of them going the full length, it'll cut the length off by a certain amount. The amount is kind of unknown to me because stopping power is kind of like one of those random things in the game. But just remember that it has the most stopping power. So if you're having issues, or if you want to do like a full Alki support build, multi-cannon would probably fit into that. I can't say that you should use it, but if you do, try to get a ammo enchant on it and a reload speed enchant on it, and just don't worry about the health, because those 2 things are most important with this multi-cannon. But moving on, this cannon right here, never use this cannon because it's so useless. It's literally useless. There's no use for this cannon. Like if you cannot shoot, you really don't want to use this cannon. Even if you can shoot, what's the point of this cannon when it explodes after? Like it just sticks to people. It sticks to people and it doesn't do any immediate damage. So it just does 110 damage over a short period of time. So you stick somebody, it'll blow up later on, and you may not get the kill because of it. Compared to the hand cannon, which does the same amount of damage, when you hit somebody, it blows up when you hit them. It fucking does what it's supposed to do. It does what a fucking grenade is supposed to do. So never use this cannon. Never. Ever, ever, ever. This is the most useless cannon in the game. It's underpowered by a large margin. It's basically the hand cannon, but made shitty because it doesn't blow up as they hit you. So try to avoid this cannon right here, because you get nothing but a whole lot of bad luck and a lot of losses in your games. But a little summary for your hand cannon build: when you make this build, or you make this guide, or you follow what I'm saying, you want a reload enchant on your hand cannon, as I have right now, and your secondary enchant should be either ammo or health. If you struggle with positioning and shit like that, and you know you struggle with positioning, and you're the cause of like getting early picks or stuff like that, where the enemy is just picking you off every time they see you, if that happens to you, go with the health. Go with the 5% health enchant onto this. But if you have good positioning normally, or things like that where you can just get off a bunch of free shots and no one's hitting you or anything, go with the ammo enchant. It's kind of like who's willing to be modest at this point? Are you gonna be modest and you're gonna tell the truth about your positioning, or are you gonna lie about it and just get fucked? But yeah, bad positioning, have reload speed, health. Good positioning, have reload speed and ammo. Either way, you benefit. If you have the ammo, you have 7 shots. And if you have good aim and good positioning, those 7 shots are going to go pretty fast. If you don't worry about the 7th shot, because you should be fine with just having more health and living longer. So even if you die, your teammates can clean up kills because you live so long that it's just easy. Alki can probably get about 1200 health, I believe. I believe it's 1200. Last time I checked, it was 1200. But Alki can get a lot of health. So just keep that in mind if you're ever getting focused, or you feel like every time you play this class, you have a bad go at it. Just try to have more health, because the longer you live, the more shots you're going to get off. That's kind of like my motto. The longer you live, the more shots you're going to get off. Which is true. Because the more health you have, the harder it is for the vampires to kill you. More likely your teammates will help you. More likely you'll be able to get a kill yourself. So keep that in mind. Alright, let's move down to your primary ability. Okay, I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. Do not use anything else within this, okay? And I'm gonna tell you why. Light bomb does 350, okay? It does 350 for an area of 500, and the cooldown is only 15 seconds. Sunlight Vow does 100 damage, but that's only 100 damage if you hit them with it. It doesn't do 100 damage in the area. It has 20 seconds on cooldown, and the range is 400, 500, 400. But the status effect for this is that it blinds the target. But you got to keep in mind, blind is only useful when you hit targets directly with it, because the longer when you hit them directly with it, the longer they stay blind. And yes, I have tested this out, so I mean, doubt me if you want, but Sunlight Vow definitely is kind of like one of those theory things Cause there's a talent based around this perk right here, but it shouldn't be something that you actually want to do unless you're running like like I said a support build, like an alky support type of thing. But the perk that goes with this is if they're blinded, they take, or their damage is reduced by 50%. So for a tyrant, instead of their auto attacks doing 200 damage, they do 100 damage. And it's kind of it's helpful because it cancels their auto attacks and their abilities when they're getting hit with this. But you gotta have a lot of skill to use this, and typically when I make these guides is for other ESL players and kind of like the newer players in the game. So it's kind of like this is something that should be left for like higher level players or someone that really wants to be a support for their team. If you know you got a really good guy on your team, or you got a bunch of good teammates or something like that, you can probably get away with using this. Just know if you use this, this is going to reduce your damage by a lot. So keep that in mind. Light bomb is probably more useful because it's overall helpful. It's helpful to clear areas. It has a lower cooldown. It has a bigger area effect. So 10 times better than sunlight vow. And all the pros use light bomb because there's never really a situation where you need this. The blind. It's never really good situationally. And building a comp around that seems a little weird. This ability right here. This 500 damage for an area of 750. Of course, the farther out from the center you get, the less damage it'll be doing. It slows your movement speed. There's a duration where you're basically immobile and you can't attack or anything, so you're just a big glowing orange thing. And you do 200 damage to yourself. Is 500 damage worth the damage that you do to yourself? So the problem with this, the main problem with this, I can do 500 damage to somebody, right? But if I pop this as soon as the team fight starts, right, I'm just going to be this big glowing orange thing in the middle of a team fight. I believe it takes away from your movement speed. Yeah, I'm not sure what they mean by movement speed 20%. That doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe it takes away from your movement speed, but 500 damage for an area of 750, and it's not even going to do that unless they're right beside you. Takes away your movement speed, and you're basically immobile for 3.5 seconds, which is basically just like, wow, come kill me. I'm glowing orange, come kill me. Don't use it. Do not use it, because it does 200 damage to yourself, and they can just move out of the way. Because once you blow up, you know, there's a time between like when you're gonna blow up, and like from the time you use the ability to the time you blow up, there's 3.5 seconds to get out of the fucking way. It's bad. It's bad. Just don't use it. I'm not gonna talk about that anymore. Don't use it. Light bomb. 2% max health plus 4% weapon recoil. Weapon recoil on Alki. What the fuck is if you're worried about weapon recoil on Alki, you might be playing the wrong class. It's really simple, guys. Like, weapon recoil shouldn't do anything to you, you know? You're adjusting shots after you shoot anyway for Alki. It's kind of like Scout. You're just readjusting your shot. You're never going to have the opportunity to just sit there and shoot in a straight line, because this is not Call of Duty. This is not how this works. There's actual mechanics to this game, if you didn't already know. But I run with 2% max health because 2% is 20 health. 20 health plus the 20 health I have down here is 40. And that's 40 added on to 1,000, so it just gives me a little bit of bonus health. Pretty soon I will have either plus health on this or plus ammo. Trying to decide which one I want and how I'm gonna go about getting it. But I'll just run that because there's no other enchants that's really gonna help me with Alki right now on my abilities anyway. There's nothing that would be useful. If you guys have good aim and good positioning, like I said before, you could probably get minus spread, but I don't see how spread would affect Alki. Because if you didn't know, Alki shots come
Hey, Crabman.
Alki shots come from the top of thank you so much, I appreciate it. That was interesting. Thank you, man. Sorry for the interruption. What was I saying? Fuck. Fuck. Oh, health. Because all the other enchants are kind of just like, eh. Only thing else I could see actually being useful for this would probably be the maybe the spread, but I don't know. Probably nothing else. Max health is probably fine. Yeah, just keep the max health because it's probably work out a lot better than anything else. All right, moving on. Secondary ability. Okay, so we're just gonna cover this like really quickly because this is like a misconception about how these abilities work and how useful they are. Alright. Firewall has the most stopping power in the fucking game. The stopping power of Firewall will slow a target, will cancel auto attacks, will cancel abilities, and will keep them inside the fire because they canceled the ability. So if an effect, or if a tyrant is about to grab me, he grabs me inside my fire. 90% of the time he will drop me because it will cancel his ability, or it'll cancel the initiation of his ability and it'll just not happen. And he's kind of just like a big brown thing standing in a fire. So Firewall, most stopping power in the game, can easily cancel attacks and abilities and shit like that. So keep that in mind, and it does a hell of a lot of damage. Someone standing in Firewall will just be fucking destroyed. The damage that Firewall does is fucking amazing. It probably does the most damage over time in this game compared to like everything else. So Firewall is always a good thing to pick up. Flamethrower. Flamethrower. Flamethrower is basically Firewall, but minus the stopping power, minus the cancellation or auto attacks, minus the team help, minus the duration, minus the damage. So Firewall is just Flamethrower is basically just a shitty Firewall without the Firewall aspects. Poison Cloud. Poison Cloud is kind of like Firewall, just without the stopping power. And Poison Cloud lasts a second less than Firewall, but it can also be situationally helpful. If your teammates getting pressured a lot or just getting fucked, you could probably just drop Poison Cloud onto him. It's a big radius, so it'll probably help him a lot more than a Firewall would. Plus, you can throw Poison Cloud, so just keep that in mind. It's really helpful. Healing Mist. Healing Mist is one of those things that is good in certain situations. Like I said about the support alky build and everything like that, this is probably your field right here. When it comes to support alky, this is your field because it heals a lot. It heals a pretty good amount of damage, and you can probably heal through a lot of shit with this. The problem is the cooldown is 25 seconds. 25 seconds is basically a volley cooldown. So you have to use these sparingly. You can't use them anytime you want. You gotta use them sparingly. Kind of like you gotta use them on an engage, basically. That's probably the best way to use it. So keep that in mind when using it, and try not to fucking just toss these out all willy-nilly because they're actually very useful. It's just no one uses it because you lose a lot of damage, and losing damage is basically like losing a player, even if they're being supportive. Moving on. Well, so overall, the best perk for your secondary perk would be Firewall and Poison Cloud for like situational. Overall is Firewall. Poison Cloud is kind of like one of those scenes where if you know your teammates are getting fucked, just grab a Poison Cloud, man, because you're probably not going to be able to get to them with Firewall. And it's equal damage. It's equal damage, but you just don't have fucking stopping power slowing people. That's all. There you go. Healing Mist is kind of like one of those things. It's you gotta pick your battles. You gotta pick your battles with this. Like, only use this if you know what you're fucking doing. Because if you don't, you're basically just wasting 25 seconds of your life on some bullshit. So keep that in mind. Firewall is better than all of them, or Firewall is better when it comes to stopping power for all of them. Poison Cloud situational. All right. Further talents. I use increased reload speed by 15% and health station activation time by 15%. The reload speed for this is fucking insane. It's fucking immediate. Instantly. If you want to, you can go in and like add up the amounts, because 5% plus 15%, 20%, 20% off of 0.4 seconds. Go in and do the math yourself, because I'm not gonna baby y'all. Figure it out yourself. But it's really fast. It gets tons of shots in. You just gotta make sure you actually let the reload go through. But what's most important about this is the health station activation time by 15%. That means the health stations are going to be up more. Like, so if you use a health station and it's grayed out, that health station is going to come back up for you faster than it will for any of your teammates. Because the health station activation time is by 15%. Like, that's 15% off of the health station activate, or the health station downtime, basically. And so it's going to come up, and normally health stations are down for like 2 to 3 minutes, I believe. I can't quite remember, but this will bring it down to like a minute 30 seconds, which is extremely useful. It all depends. It all depends, because I haven't done the math on that part, but it will have your health station up longer, or it'll have your health station up faster than all your other people on your team. Anyway, fortitude. Fortitude is a great perk for people who don't know how to position well. So if you're one of those people that just get fucked up every time you go in, Fortitude is probably the perk for you. That's how you're going to get that 1200, or yeah, that 1200 health is by using Fortitude and stacking health on everything else. So Fortitude is very good. Keep that in mind. Bad positioning, pick up Fortitude. Expanded clip. Expanded clip is good for the people who have good positioning and they have really good aim. with Alki. If you have shitty aim, then why do you need more ammo? You know, like there's no point in you having more ammo if you're just gonna miss shots. So this is only for the skilled people when it comes to playing Alki. So keep that in mind, because the more ammo you have, the more shots you can have. But the shots only matter if you can hit your shots. So just know that. Uh, this perk right here is for the sunlight vow or whatever it's called. Reduce their damage by 50%. This is one of those support things that I was talking about, but I mean, this is situational completely. Completely situational. Because a lot of times vampires aren't going to stay still long enough for you to flash them like this and then have them like do reduced damage. But I mean, like I said, situational. If you feel like you're talented enough to use it, be my guest, use it, because it's a great support item. But if you're not and you're not comfortable with playing Alki, try to stick with what you know. You know, don't try to go out of your way to try to support somebody if you know you've never done it, or you never used it, or even if you're not good. Try not to go out of your way to do shit like that. Try to put as much damage as you can. And this game is all about damage. You should have at least 10k damage every game. Every game for both sides, for vamps and for humans. 10k is like bare minimum. So make sure that you guys are doing 10k damage after every game. Because if you're not, you're probably holding your team back. Reduce cooldowns. I mean, if you guys want, you guys could probably make like a health build with like cooldown on it, like 5% cooldown on everything, so that you can reduce the cooldown of like your firewall by like, what would that be? 5, 10, 15, 25, by 25%. So 25 off of 20 seconds, that'd probably be like 15 seconds or something. So I mean, situational. If you make a build around it, make a build around it. If it works for you, it works for you. You know. Restoring flames, it heals you with the firewalls and shit like that. This, again, if you're getting focused a lot, this is something that you probably want. So between this and the health, this is something you probably want, but the health is probably overall better because people aren't going to stand in your firewall. And just so you guys don't get fucking confused with the flamethrower, because flamethrower is so fucking irritating to see because it's so useless. You can literally not hit anybody with that ability. And this and flamethrower is kind of just like a waste of two abilities, because flamethrower hitbox is very small. It's very small and it's very thin, so it doesn't hit what you think it's going to hit. Plus the duration is shorter, and healing flame mixed with that doesn't really make a difference unless they're crowded around you. So keep that in mind. Don't use flamethrower. Use flame wall over flamethrower every single time. But yeah, try to stick with what you know. If you know you're getting focused a lot, or let me summarize this up a little bit so we can end this video. Fortitude, good for if you're getting focused a lot and you're trying to stay alive, because this gives you extra health. If you have a full health build plus the fortitude perk, that's 1200 health. That's a lot of fucking health. That's a lot of health. Gives you more opportunities to do damage, keeps you alive longer, and it lets your teammates, it opens up opportunities for your teammates to get kills. But that's health for every class in this game. Humans, the most important thing that you should focus on is getting health onto them. Health onto them and good aim. Good aim and communication. That's how you do it on humans. Quick reload speed keeps your health stations up. a lot of times. Um, if I was in a ESL match or something like that, I probably wouldn't be using quick hands. Well, it all depends on like how the fight's going. If I know I'm not getting focused and they're leaving me to be the last one, I would use quick hands. But if I know I'm getting focused, I would use fortitude because it just makes sense. More health, more alive, long time or thing. So, so if you want to stay alive, use fortitude. If you're not getting hit, use quick hands, more damage out. A little summary: firewall is overall the best one. Poison cloud is situational, depending, because you can throw poison cloud, you can't throw firewall. Light bomb, best one out of all of these. Light vow or sunlight vow, situational, unless you make for like people who make builds for this shit. Hand cannon, overall the most consistent cannon out of all of them. Not the highest damage dealing cannon, but the most consistent cannon, and overall the best cannon in my opinion. But full bore can also be used if you have a specific build for it, or if you actually take the time to make a build for it. So just keep that in mind. And the other two cannons are no, just don't. But yeah, this was your boy Zeus. This is my Alki guide. I hope you guys have a great time trying out my builds, and I just really want to say thank you for all the support that I've been getting for these videos. Never thought that I would actually have people, you know, giving me feedback on how I can improve and make things better. And I listen to all you guys. I try to look at all the comments as fast as possible. And yeah, well, this was your boy ESL Zeus, Team Alpha forever. You gotta throw up your Team Alphas. Support our team. All the links will be in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.